Welcome to Math for All Academy. In this problem, we're going to solve a system of equations, and this problem involves distance, time, and speed. So if we have a problem like this that says Sienna drove 500 kilometers from Toronto to Peterborough in 5.5 hours. She drove part of the way at 100 kilometers per hour and the rest of the way at 80 kilometers per hour. How far did she drive at each speed? So first thing to know is we have to remember distance equals time times speed. And from this, we could get different combinations of this same thing depending on what we want to solve. So from this, we could see that speed would equal distance over time, and time would equal distance over speed, okay? So we could have those to use. Next thing you should do is draw a picture, okay? So our total distance is from Toronto to Peterborough, but part of that distance was driven at a different speed from the other distance, okay? So it's cut up into two parts, the traveling. So this part was driven at 100 kilometers per hour, and this one was driven at 80 kilometers per hour. And the total distance is 500 kilometers in 5.5 hours. Total time is 5.5 hours. Now we could let x be time from Toronto to this point, and then let y be time from this point to Peterborough, okay? So here we put our x and our y. And now it's a little bit more clear now, right? So now we can set up our equations using the words in the problem. So the total time it takes is 5.5 hours. But the time here is x and the time here is y. When you add those together, you'll get 5.5. So the second equation is distance equals time times speed, okay? So the time times the speed is going to give us the distance, and the total distance is 500. So if we multiply the speed of 100 times the time x and add that to the speed 80 times the time y, that'll give us the total distance. So that'll be our second equation. Now we can solve by substitution. So we could take our x and move it over. It becomes negative, okay? We start with our simple equation because it's easier that way. Now we can substitute y, this y equals 5.5 minus x into here, into our second equation. And it looks like this. So now we can just multiply the 80 into both of these terms. And it becomes this, 100x plus 440 minus 80x equals 550. So now we can combine our like terms. 100x minus 80x gives us 20x. Then we move over the 440 and it becomes negative. And we add those two together. So we're left with 20x equals 60. Now to isolate x, we divide by 20, okay, on both sides. And then we're left with x equals 3 hours. Now we can solve for the other variable and check. So we need to figure out what y is. So we could take this equation and put in 3 for x, and we get y equals 2.5 hours. So it's 3 hours from here to here, and 2.5 hours from here to here. So now the distance from Toronto to this first stop equals 100 times 3, because speed times time gives us the distance. So 100 times 3 equals 300 kilometers. Now we can find the distance from this stop to P, and that one is equal to the speed times that time, which equals 80 times 2.5, which gives 200 kilometers. Now we can just check. We could just use our equation 1 and our equation 2 and we use the variables that we found, 3 and 2.5, and then we can calculate it out and we see that we've done it correctly. And that's it. That's all there is to that problem. And don't worry if you don't understand that right away. You could just rewatch the video. As well, take a look at the description. There's a link there to my ebook that you could download. In the ebook, you'll find a link to this very lesson, and you can follow along in the ebook as you watch the video. As well, in the description, you'll find links to other videos of mine that I've done that are similar to this. You could check those out if you need extra help. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for listening.